Hello, Sanbonani, Dumelang Afrika, and welcome to yet another sizzling hot episode of Expressions right here on SABC 1 and DTT. Well, Mbukeli, the festive season, but is a big day. While it is appreciated, Mbukeli, that the festive season is a time for enjoyment and it remains very alarming when Azaria now Mbukeli that during this time of the year, crime iyangokunyukela ngasenhla. Siyasabona kaloku Mbukeli ndokubana abantu bayabulalana ngapha kuba khona ne-rape ne-robberies ndibala ntoni na. They are very common around this time. Ethi Mbukeli noba wenza ntoni qiniseka into yobana ulola amehlo. Well, during the festive season of last year 2023, siyasabona kaloku 560 suspects were arrested for murder. Saphinde sabona Mbukeli into yobana 604 people were charged with attempted murder and 470 Mbukeli siyababona bevalelwe ngapha kwezitixo because of rape. These are scary numbers as we are approaching the festive season.
Scary statistics, Colossa, scary statistics. Ake Mbukeli ngibingelele ngikwamukele lapha ku-Expressions. Lesi yisona esihloko esikhuluma ngaso lapha ohlelweni namuhla. Mina igama lami ngo-Azaria wakakhoza. Unyaka usuphelile ke Mbukeli. We are all preparing to unwind, sihlale nemindeni yethu ke. Kodwa njengoba uColossa eseshilo Mbukeli, ubugebengu ngalesi sikhathi sonyaka buya ngokwanda. Umbuzo esibuzayo ke Mbukeli namhlanje ukuthi ingabe usawathembile yini na amaphoyisa alapha kwelengabadi. We took to the streets to see what people are saying, and this is what they had to say.
We are not safe at all. We are, as the rape cases has been on a rise, and I think maponisa visibility maponisa it's ayiyo.
We are not comfortable, please. At least amapoisa if angayenza umsebenzi wabo. Ngoba makusondele iDecember, hayi sisenkingeni. Yeah, we need police ukusebenza kakhulu.
Maponisa are faila gagolo because there are cases tse dingata tse gore till today a di so solve ka go police station ka ba explainela the situation le gore motho o has been stalking me, so kaya go kopa thuso ya bona to go ba yo ba lo mona or something, just help me, and then bona ba re there's nothing they can do because a gona sign ya go ke gobetso or anything, so they wouldn't help me.
Implementation crime prevention, yeah, like baya sebenza like njalo like they're around the area, so yeah. Baya sebenza, yeah, so I do believe in them.
And we've got so many crimes that is happening, and unfortunately our police, they can't even cope because sibaningi
amaphoyisa asebenzi kahle ne ngiblame ugovernment ne ukuthi amaphoyisa abe indlela ayiyo, otherwise angeke sihlale ngaphandle kwamaphoyisa ngoba nawo awafani, understand, amanya right amanya wrong.
Re betsetswa di fraud mo di phone tsa rona a re thusiwe ka next gona no banke ba cheta ka mo phone mo cutting inyame gone ke tsa mantwe ba ntse ba re ba tla solve ai.
Ake Mbukeli lowo yiwona umbuzo esibuzayo namhlanje ohleleni lapha ku-Expressions ukuthi wena do you feel safe now as a South African? Remember that you can be part of this discussion. Call us on 011-714-0631. Umbuzo esibuzayo uthi ingabe ugculisekile yini na ngendlela amaphoyisa aqhuba ngawo umsebenzi. And joining me right now is Funzi Ngobeni, who is a member of Parliament. So welcome to Expressions.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, first of all, we've seen you guys on social media with Miss Darrell when you were going to all these police stations doing oversights. I just want to get the sense on the ground. How bad and how dire is the situation when you visit all these police stations? Yeah,
look, the situation is bad. I think the police are working under very extremely difficult situation. Yes, of course, we've got elements in the police who are lazy, who are corrupt, but we shouldn't lose focus that the environment that they are working in is not of their own doing. In fact, if you look at it, it is the leadership of the police, leadership in government, that should be able to help them to be able to do their work in police stations. Many of the police stations that we have visited, their telephones are not working. I mean, there's overcrowding in terms of the police that are there, detectives crowded in one room. The infrastructure itself is dilapidated. Recently, Darrell visited, where they fixing their cars, the workshop. Most of their cars stay in workshop for a very long time. Then you ask yourself as a resident why they don't respond. It's because they don't have cars. They've got only one car that is patrolling the area. Most of them are still stuck at the workshop. They've been there for many months and so forth. So, and the crux of the issue is that there's no leadership that is capable, that is able to actually make sure that the environment that the police are working in is conducive.
Yeah, but now who is supposed to be responsible for such things? Because yes, the vans are there, but then sometimes they go on maintenance for months, and you find which people, they do go to a police station, but the police can't assist them because there are no resources. Now, who is supposed to hold people accountable here?
Yeah, of course. I mean, us who are in Parliament as opposition parties, who are sitting in those committees where departments will come and report, we must hold those departments accountable. But there is the people that have been elected to be in government who are heading those portfolios. The Minister of Police, he's responsible for the overall, operations of the police on day-to-day basis, together with the commissioners who are working with him and so forth. So all of them, we must be able to hold them accountable as those who are doing oversight. But of course, residents and taxpayers and voters are the ultimate people that must also hold government of the day accountable. People do complain. I've been listening to clips that we have been playing. Indeed, we are not safe. I mean, you can ask around the house or ask around the room how many people have been victims of crime. You'll find that 9 out of 10, all of us have been victims of crime some way or another. It's precisely because we're not safe, and the police don't have capacity to react. Also, they don't have the resources, tools of trade to be able to do so. So we must be able to hold politicians accountable, but we must also hold the officials, the commissioners who are responsible, the station commanders and so forth.
Accountable as well. All right, Mbugeli, joining me on the line right now, I have Tobakale Leseba, who is from the South African Policing Union. Sir, welcome to Expressions.
Thank you for having us, and also greetings to a fellow panel member.
Yeah. All right. So can you just briefly explain, Oguti, when we go on the ground, we speak to a lot of people who are saying they've lost hope. They've lost ithemba kumaphoyisa wethu kwalapha eNingizimu Afrika. What are some of the components and the elements that contribute to that? What makes people ukuthi balahle ithemba in our SAPS?
There's a whole lot of issues that are existing, which really brings a mistrust between the members of the society and also the police. Some could be contributed by few elements that are not doing what is expected of them. And I really like what the fellow panel member has mentioned, that majority of our police officers do what is expected of them. But we also need to look at the issues that ranges between the challenges that the police works under. They're expected to tighten their boots in the morning and go to that police station that is dilapidated, go to that police station which doesn't have their resources for them to do their work. When they go out there to serve our communities, criminals, they attack and kill them. And that's also some of the challenges that are faced with. We are faced with austerity measures, which really goes to the budget of the police being cut. Definitely, that will also contribute to service delivery as it is supposed to be in terms of resources, starting from the human capital, even going into the physical resources. So there's a whole lot of range of issues and a lot of challenges that are there. But what is important to us is that the police cannot function on their own. The police and the members of the society, we need one another. That is why we encourage community policing forum within all communities, being it semi-urban, urban, and even in rural areas, because that on its own, we will be able, working hand in glove with the members of the society, to fight against one enemy, which is crime, because criminals, they don't live anywhere else, but they live within our own societies. They live with us within our communities. And if indeed we can hold hands together, even in the midst of these challenges, that we are having, that the police are faced with, we can be able to indeed fight against crime.
So we are supposed to work together as umphakathi in order to assist amaphoyisa as well. Speaking of assisting them, policemen are in that group of, facing high mental health issues because of umsebenzi wabo, understandably. I just want you to talk me through, ukuthi, do you feel like the police here in South Africa are being supported enough? Or are we expecting to get help from the people that need help nabo ngokwabo?
Unfortunately, when you look policing, in its nature, it is a very traumatizing type of a job. You go, you attend an accident scene, you go, you attend a shooting, you go, you get shot at, or your partner gets shot and get killed. Whilst with you, you may get to be wounded, but you survive. So that definitely, it really touches on the mental health of any human being if they are, to wear the very same boots and find themselves under the same situations. Unfortunately, the component that deals with employee health and wellness, it is not quite fully capacitated, coming from the resources that they need, and also even the professionals who are supposed to be there, indeed rendering that debriefing, because it is important that after every traumatic event, before one could knock off, they should go and get debriefed, so that when they go home, we don't see cases coming up. We don't, one does not carry the very same trauma back home. But with less capacity, the issue of mental health still remains to be a challenge. So we really need as well, that's why our position as an organization is to say this responsibility should be out of the police because it needs professionals. The professionals should be able to exercise their responsibility, being psychiatrists, social workers, being it psychologists, so that they can be able indeed to debrief our members accordingly without any form of stigma, without any form of them being also in the police, because here there's the issue of rank and file in the police to say sometimes when professionals have written reports to say so and so should be given some off days, they must attend sessions, but because of the nature of the job itself, you'll find that a commander will look at that recommendation and undermine that professional because of they will have been given a rank. But if it comes from outside, they themselves operating from outside, then we would see that picture being having to change.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Lesabe, for that answer. Ayembukeli lowo yiwona umbuzo sobuza lapha ku-expressions namhlanje ukuthi ingabe usanethemba now when it comes to amaphoyisa wethu kwalapha eNingizimu Afrika. Okwamanje ake sithi qo $8. This is Expressions right here on SABC 1.
Nemoto zibe zininzi, then sizoba right.
We must put more effort, like because crime, like it has increased, everyone is stealing everything, so I need them must put just more effort.
Engage with the community, engage one-on-one with the community. Sometimes how people go charge office, how can like sometimes you feel like you don't see any they must engage with the community.
I feel like first thing if batho batla and it's a small thing, small case or anything, because it can turn into a big thing.
Into a big thing. That's why we are having this conversation. I'm Shlanja. Welcome back. You are watching Expressions right here on SABC 1. We are still talking about the South African Police Service's readiness to protect abemi balapha emzansi Afrika. Nakubeni kaloku sijonge kwi big days, that is of course the festive season. Uyaqonda ukhumbule kaloku mbukeli bana in the year 2023, 75,000 people were arrested for various crimes around the country during the festive season. The primary function of the police is to maintain law and order and to protect and serve abemi balapha emzansi Afrika. Kodwa ke iyakhwanqisa mbukeli into bana sive ngamabali of women and men in blue ngabo ababonakala ngathi ngonqevu be involved in violent activities. Well, in studio we are joined by Letuktula Mtungwa, a young person who is a victim of police brutality. Letuktula, welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining us in such a very important topic that we are having namhlanje.
Thank you for having me, man.
And please, man, take us through your story. How was your personal experience with Ndobana ufumana ubundlobongela emapoliseni?
It was really awful. It was just a regular day, like regular police brutality. I was actually being fetched by a friend of mine, and he had just bought a new car, like the old school BMWs. We call them amakushesha. So I think it kind of entices them when they see those cars, because usually it's gangsters and people that move with those cars. So when they saw us, they stopped us with no probable cause, pointed us with guns, told us to go out the car, silale phansi emgaqweni, and we're like, okay, there's no reason, because there's no crime that has been found, or there's nothing that you'll see, or maybe a threat, maybe there could be weapons in the car. So when I proceeded to ask the police officer that why do we have to lie on the floor, because there's nothing that you're like charging us with, or there's no threats that has been opposed towards you, and then he started fighting, getting violent with me. And then one of the officers was a Pedi speaking person, and I'm a Zulu speaking person. So I'm like, so before there's language barrier, rather we speak in English so we can understand each other. That's why he got mad. He slapped me and so now when I started enraging, because I don't understand why is the violence used against me, and I'm not opposing them doing their job. They're saying if we have to pick up our hands, we're picking up their hands. So then when they saw that people, because there's like that, it's a very busy area we're at. It's in Maboneng, just here in Johannesburg. They saw people taking videos and everything. Then they ran away. They ended up not even
so one out of all of your friends.
So my other friend, there's three of us. There's three men in the car. It's myself, a friend of mine, and the guy who's the driver, who
and
doesn't
with this
drink.
situation, when I mean, you're likely faced to report this case to the police, and that's like a snake biting its own tail, because to the people that were meant to serve and protect you. How did that go about? I mean, we are Waima police and one reporter. What was the outcome?
I actually didn't even bother to go open a case, because I've done something like that when we were violated by police. And I think they don't take it seriously. Obviously, you can't, if somebody comes and reports your colleague, it's like the case doesn't go anywhere. You get there, try to follow up with the detective. They'll tell you maybe the docket is missing or something like that. So I just didn't bother.
So you didn't even bother to go through that process?
Because it was going to be a waste of my time.
And I mean, this shows that, I mean, as a young person up in South Africa, you've lost hope with police up in South Africa. And how has this experience really shaped your perspective on Emma Police? And do you believe many other young South Africans as we approach the festive season?
I honestly don't know how the government can help to make it better, because it's just became about them abusing the law. Even the thing of the fact that maybe, let's say, they stop you with the fact that you have to bribe them has become a normal thing. Like to all of us, we just know that as a normal thing, which is not supposed to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly, unless the government retrenches or they change the whole system, I don't know how it can ever get better.
As on the other side, you know, they were speaking about mental health, and I was quite, you know, intrigued when I found the research that many South African police officers suffer from post-traumatic depression, but they will not go for professional help because that is considered as a weakness. I mean, that will obviously have an effect. Do you think, mhlambe, as a public, we are somehow harsh or we expect too much? And you know, join with communities, there's effective policing?
I think what also influences the way that they handle everything is the behavior of the public as well. Maybe they feel like their job is undermined, and I think if the public can do better in also respecting them as the law, but also them respecting the public, could actually make everything better.
Before we go to the break, I mean, it's 3 weeks later.
Maybe I'll try. I'll try and see. Maybe I might get a station that's better at doing their job than others.
Azaria, please do unpack this with your guest. I mean, well, for now, let's take a quick commercial break. Do not move a muscle. Expressions about SABC 1.
Emelo empumalanga enquthu kwa KZN noma ngabe kuphi la sibukele khona mbukeli nethezeka. This is Expressions right here on SABC1. Uma ngabe usandungena mbukeli namuhla umbuzo sibuzayo uthi ingabe usanethemba na in our South African police services. And still joining me right now is Tobokhale Lesiba from South African Policing Union. Sir, before we wrap this conversation up, I just want you to tell me a bit about the campaigns that you have for this up and coming festive season and how effective they are. Obviously, you've done them over the years. Do you think that they are effective?
Yeah, remember the National Commissioner highlighted the issue of the operations that they have. One of them is Operation Shanela, which we have seen the successes that Operation Shanela came with. We've seen the number of firearms that were confiscated, illegal firearms, definitely. We've also seen the arrests, the number of arrests, the number of those suspects who indeed were wanted. They being arrested through those operations. And they were a success. And we need to commend the police in the good work that they have done. Because if those operations were not in effect, those arrests wouldn't have been realized. And further to that, it is also important that during the festive season, members of society, they need to also please assist the police. Because we know that during this period, it is that period where we know that criminals are taking advantage, starting from Mama, the Stokfela, when they go and withdraw their monies and all of those things, and even some getting their bonuses. People just need to be cautious in everything that they are doing, just to make sure that all precautionary measures are taken as well. And also, we've also witnessed some kidnappings that were conducted where they would kidnap somebody and then they would make them open their phone. They go through all the apps within their phone, banking apps, to withdraw money. They will transfer money. Some they will say increase their limits and those type of things. It's just for everyone to be conscious during this festive season period. And also, what is also of our interest, that what we just said, it is the interest that we have that has to do with society. We also have an interest that deals with the police to say, please let them join us as SAPU in our campaign that we call Protect the Protectors, because the police, we consider them to be our protectors.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tobokhale.
We really join hands.
Thank you. I just want to rope you in, Mr. Ngobeni, as well onto this conversation, that we see all these campaigns. Do you think that they are effective, and are they helping up Umphakathi?
Look, I think, that's one of the interventions. I think community engagement, community education in terms of policing, it's always important, but we must not confuse that with the work that needs to happen on the ground, and what society needs to do as well. I think I was listening to the guest earlier on who was saying he has lost interest even on reporting cases. It's important that we must encourage him that he must test the system. We must see that this system is failing because there is IPIT where we can report behavior or conduct of the police, and they can investigate and check how they can be able to do, because there's no excuse for people to be harassed by the police.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu. Kholosa, what an insightful show.
We really hope that this conversation, Bugeli, will spark, the agency and actions with police services. For now, we're leaving you with Unati Dube with the song titled Ituba.
Sekuphela malanga mbekezelela ngama ngifuna nawe nawe sithando sami masihlale phansi sikhulumisane ngezinto esibhekene nazo sithando sami awelelele awelelele asinika nethuba nawe baby uyazi ngiyasifela angeke sihlukanise ubala noma bethi njani ngiyathanda noma bekubeka amacala ngiyala ngoba ngiyathanda ngeke sihlukaniswe ubala noma bethi njani ngiyathanda noma bekubeka amacala ngiyala ngoba ngiyathanda kanti yini dali awufuni nendisebenze uhlulwa yini dali ukwenza lento isebenze kanti yini dali asenze izinto zenzeke ungowami kuze bebakade one more time say